Hi, my name's David, and I'm doing this video for a lot of my friends out there that have shown a lot of interest in this boat. This is a 1979 Glastron CVX. I bought it in about 11 years ago, 09, and it came with a 117 Evinrude, which I ended up rebuilding and selling, and later put a E-tec 09 130 on, and then later upgraded to the 150 HO. The interior's been redone. You can see it came up pretty nice. I like it. I mounted a flush mount throttle, hydraulic steering, a smaller diameter steering wheel so I could fit under it, and less turns of the wheel for turning. All new gauges. You can see the BRP gauges. They're really nice. I also added a water gauge, but basically there's the systems gauge, voltmeter, trim, water gauge, and fuel gauge, along with RPM and speedometer. The boat was in fairly good condition, but it did have a lot of gouges on it. I can come back here, and I think there's a gouge that I repaired using a clear gel coat in the side. I guess it's on the other side. I'll come over here. Yeah, here you can see it. Right here. Looks like it was tied up to a dock with bolts sticking out. It gouged pretty good, so I filled it with gel seal and gel coat, sanded, polished. Came out pretty nice. The original boat had plastic emblems, and they were all pretty rotted out, so I picked up these Carlson Glastron, and it gave it a nice touch. I like the colors. This little intake here at the center, it's kind of an aesthetic looking thing, but it does allow air to pass through underneath. That was plastic. I found a guy that milled these aluminum parts. That came out really nice. Did a lot of polishing and cleaning up, but this boat has been absolutely awesome. One of the things I like about this boat is it only weighs about 750 pounds without the motor. My motor comes in at about 418, so the whole package is incredibly light. And compared to today's boats, it just is about half the weight. It's so much fun. Lots of acceleration. You can see the prop I put on here is a raker. It's a 14.5 by 24. And if I can get in there, you can actually see the numbers. It's a good prop. Gives me lots of pitch and lots of speed. And because the boat's so light, it is able to handle a high-pitch prop really well. Gives me what I call a negative split, so the RPM typically is less than the speed. So if I'm running 2400 RPM, I'm probably running about 28 miles an hour. You don't normally see that on boats. This particular boat, some of the weaknesses are the transom, and most of these older boats will need a remake or a redo. This particular boat had the floor redone, and I believe the transom. I've checked it over pretty good. So what I did to increase the strength to handle the extra weight and torque is I laid in fiberglass, 18 layers of bidirectional fiberglass, and you can see where I laid the gel coat in right here. So I basically laid it in, and I'm going to do a separate video on how I did that, because it's important that you do it properly to get the maximum strength out of the glass fibers. I did use epoxy. Personally, I don't care for polyester resins. They're more difficult to work with, short working time. I much prefer epoxy. That's how I built my airplane, and I'm very familiar with it. It gives you a nice 45-minute, half hour to 45-minute work time. The epoxy I used was West Systems, and I was pretty satisfied with it, and it came out nice. I'm going to do a separate video on that because I've got a couple pics I'd like to share, and I'll cover some of the details of how I did that. The steering system is hydraulic. You can see it's a Baystar. Not real thrilled with the Baystar. I don't think I would use this system again for this particular application. One of the things I dislike about it is when you're steering, you got to give it extra turns to make it turn, and I'm not real thrilled about that. But I'm living with it, and it works. So you can see the back seat. Really like the interior. Windshield's in good shape. Those things run about $900 if you have to replace them. So if you find a boat, make sure you check out that smoke windscreen and get it right. One of the things that else I did to this was I reworked the vent system. When the waves would hit, it would throw gas out, and so I reworked the vent lines underneath. What you got to do is route the lines all the way up here and then back and then out the vent, and mine were in bad shape, and I think I threw an extra loop in there just for extra line, but I haven't thrown any gas since, even when it's maxed out full. It's got about an 18-gallon tank, I believe, and gives me a lot of run time with the fuel efficient E-tec. I will be doing another video with my fuel stats. I tracked all the gas I used last summer. I'm currently doing the same thing this summer. Engine run time and miles driven, so I can give you all that specific information. I'll be kicking that out later. That's about it. It's Sunday morning, and I'm going to go for a swim. Hope you enjoyed this, and hope to see you on the lake soon.